Welcome teachers. Now before you guys get into your staff meeting this afternoon, I just would like to take the spotlight and talk about creativity and imagination in the classroom. I promise it'll be short and sweet, but hopefully it's going to get your minds thinking. So creativity and imagination has been researched thoroughly over the last century, and we all know this. Different definitions have emerged and how the two are linked. To understand the relationship between imagination and creativity, one must understand the two as individuals. That a virtue of which an image occurs in us was said by Aristotle, who beautifully defines what imagination is. Everyone can imagine. We as educators need to banish the myth that only certain people can imagine. If you can dream, you can imagine. When one thinks of creativity, the mind generally goes straight to the world of arts. We need to remove this myth that only certain people can be creative. We are all creative every single day. You don't have to be a world-renowned artist to be creative. You are creative every single day. A perfect model that breaks down creativity into sections is the Little C, Big C model, conceptualized by Kaufman and Bagetto. So this model takes the broadness of the word creativity and breaks it into two, to better define the different levels of creativity and give people a better understanding. So Big C creativity is the study of creative greatness, well-known creators or renowned individuals, so maybe Albert Einstein or Stephen Hawking. Little C creativity is everyday creativity, from rearranging your bedroom to creating a new dish. Little C creativity is more relevant in the classroom as it will be prominent evidence throughout your lessons. I found this model to be a fantastic model to explain and break down creativity and make it more relevant to today's classroom environments and settings. So as previously mentioned, Little C creativity is more evident and relevant to the classroom setting. Kraft 2002 argues that everyday Little C creativity actively involves imagination, and I for one believe this to be true. I believe that being able to utilize your creativity is being able to tap into your imagination. Creativity is imagination applied, being able to make or do something. Creativity is recognized in everyday life, from doing simple things to revolutionizing the world, whereas imagination is something you can think of on your own quarrel, and creativity is where you turn that thought into a realistic thing. So the art of teaching is to assist discovery, as said by Mark Van Doren. Teachers, you are assisting students to utilize their imagination and creativity, not only in the classroom, but outside of it as well. You inspire students. You are a role model to them. Students look up to you. You teach them about the world. Imagination and creativity can easily be implemented into the classroom. Let students find their own answer to the question. Let's calm down on this black and white thinking of education. Everything is not black and white. Teachers, you need to be creative and imaginative to be able to teach that, because the students look up to you. You're a role model to them. They will mimic you. Some ways that you can implement creativity and imagination in the classroom are establishing expressive freedom. So the classroom needs to be a place where students feel safe to share their novel ideas that they have. Secondly, creativity builds confidence. So students love to take ownership of their work. Give students a project, maybe for history. They can then showcase their work at the end of the term for the wider community and for the parents as well. Collaborative creative thinking models. So maybe read a paragraph together and then ask the students to design a list of questions that they've had about that paragraph. Apply space for creativity. So design a classroom space for the students to be able to explore their creativity and imagination. And lastly, see creativity in a positive light. Reward students for their thoughts of problems in various ways. We need to embrace creativity. We don't need to put a negative stigma on it. We need to positize it and then praise the students. Good morning, everyone. So my name is Holly, and I'm here to talk about imagination and creativity. Let me start by asking question. You can either raise your hand, jump up, or just simply nod your head. When you hear the word creativity, does your mind think of art or of dancing or musicians or talented and gifted individuals? So I can see a few people nodding, some are raising their hands, some are unsure, and that's fine. The second thing I want to say today is that every single person in this room is creative and imaginative. I know right now that's quite a weird thing to think about, but hopefully I can help you realise how creative we all are. So creativity is something we all possess. Every single human being is creative. There is a thing called little c creativity, which is creativity in everyday life. I'm going to ask you another question now. Who has ever drawn a picture in their workbooks? Okay. I want you to keep your hands up. Who has ever created a picture collage in class or at home? Or a collage of anything? So more hands are going up. Who has ever danced around to a song? Now look around and see how many hands are up in the classroom. There's quite a few, aren't there? I have something to tell you. Everything that I've just asked you are all things that you've done that are being creative. Who has ever had dreams before? That's your imagination. Who has ever been drawing a picture and had a thought that you put into that drawing? And that's your imagination at it again. We're always imagining and we are always creative. When you hear an ending to a story, let's say for example, and they lived happily ever after, have you ever thought of an alternate ending or something different to change the story? Creativity and imagination at it again. Now that we've spoken about creativity and imagination, who thinks that they are creative and imaginative now? And look at all of those hands. So utilising your creativity and imagination in the classroom isn't just something that I've randomly decided to talk about today. It's been thoroughly researched by teachers and researchers. There were several interviews undertaken in a school just like this with both students and teachers. The students and the teachers believe that having a classroom environment that boosts and enhances creativity will help with self-confidence, provide you guys with choices, and focus on your strengths and your interests. Now, who thinks having a classroom that promotes and celebrates the use of creativity and imagination would be good? So do I. Hello everyone. Now we have a wide variety of individuals here, and I know a lot of you are some very, very busy people, but I just want to take a moment out of your day to talk about firstly, creativity and imagination in the classroom, and secondly, creative pedagogies and the current curriculum. So creativity and imagination in the students are a resource that is freely available for us to utilise. Within the current curriculum that is shaping schools and lessons and teaching tactics, it is what I would like to call a black and white way of thinking. This is what you're going to learn and that's how you're going to learn it. So hearing that, it doesn't make much room for creativity and imagination, does it? We know that every child in your classroom learns differently and thinks differently. Let's tap into that and utilise it. Create a creative curriculum that serves their interests and what they want to learn and integrate that into the lessons. Create a partnership with the students. We currently have a curriculum that is planned of what needs to be done and what standards need to be met by the students. A creative curriculum is sitting down with the children at the beginning of a topic and saying, this is the topic, what would you like to learn about and what would you like to know? And then feeding that information back into the planning of the topic. Not only will this creative curriculum be more engaging for the students, it'll also be able to utilise and enhance that creativity and imagination that they already have. So a terminology that's quite common in creative curriculum is co-construction, which means that the children and the teachers are working together to create the curriculum. This allows for more freedom for the teachers, but there still is a structure there. The Australian curriculum is what is currently being used in schools at the moment. We have a very crowded curriculum, so there's not a lot of time for children to be imaginative, to be creative. This was said by the Associate Professor in Early Childhood Studies at Melbourne University, Kmart Getz. This is such a true statement made about the curriculum. Teachers must move on to the next thing and not really giving them time to delve into the big questions. Within the Australian curriculum, there are standards that should be met when students finish a year of schooling. There are certain standards they must achieve. We are too focused on standardised testing, and it's killing creativity before the students even reach high school. Within the current Australian curriculum, there is creative and critical thinking sections embedded within the general capabilities. The two terminologies of creative thinking and critical thinking are vastly different to one another when implemented within the curriculum. Critical thinking is using the terminology of analysing, comparing, contrasting, whereas the creative section is more about technologies and performances and using big ideas in specific contexts. The curriculum is becoming a very rigid and controlled environment. This is something that needs to change. We need to embrace and implement creative pedagogy into classrooms through creativity and imagination